Now we're joined once again by Mr. Babak Mimyan, economist and political analyst based in London, to reveal more about this topic in our program In Focus. Mr. Babak, good evening to you, sir, and welcome to In Focus. And let me start by asking, how do you interpret Washington's renewed push into Central Asia? Is this primarily economic competition with China or a broader geopolitical strategy to contain both China and Russia simultaneously?
Thank you very much for your question. First of all, let's start with these countries in Central Asia. They're all great countries. They're good countries. They're not interested in warfare. They're very peaceful countries, and they want to develop their economies. So this is their wish of these countries. And the biggest dispute was between Armenia and Azerbaijan, which is that now sorted out. So these are good countries, peaceful countries. And I think President Trump's foreign policy of peace and prosperity has paid off. No leaders in the world find President Trump threatening. They all welcome him, even the Chinese or the Russians. They all like him because he comes with a message of peace and prosperity, and not just a message. He actually wants to do the work. He wants to deliver prosperity. Of course, there are lots of side benefits. One of them is to cancel the Iranian influence in Central Asia. The other is to reduce the Chinese influence and the Russian influence. But that doesn't mean President Trump does not want to work with the Russians or with the Chinese. But more importantly, U.S. had lost a base in Afghanistan. This is a good way of getting back into Central Asia.
Mm-hmm. Now, the U.S. is targeting critical minerals like tungsten. Now, how decisive are these minerals in shaping the next decade of global power competition? And definitely, we're not just speaking about the very non-sophisticated industries, right?
These rare earth minerals, they have become very important recently because now we need them in all sorts of devices. The reason why in the last 20 years, the West had not concentrated on mining these rare earth minerals were two reasons. One was most of the funding and investment went into social medias like Facebook, Google, Instagram. So that's where the West invested. Meanwhile, the Chinese invested in mother industries like these rare earth minerals. And
Mr. Babak, if we speak here about those earth minerals, we're not just speaking about industries, or yes, they are very much indeed used in technologies, very sophisticated technologies and chips and all the needs of technological devices, but they're also used militarily.
Indeed, that's a very big issue. Militarily is used. The reason why, also the second reason why the West had not pursued mining these rare earth minerals, because unfortunately mining these is very environmentally unfriendly. They are very unfriendly to environment. But now I'm sure with the revision and with new techniques and technology, the mining of for rare earth minerals would be done compatible with environmental policies, with friendly environmental policies.
If I may ask you, Mr. Babak, now you're saying that President Trump is going with a message of peace, so he's acceptable in all countries, right? But President Trump is going there to make a kind of agreement on buying those earth minerals. He's not going there to invest in their own countries or to give them the know-how of extracting them or any of that sort. So, in fact, it's not really, he's not really going with a message of peace. In fact, he's going with an agreement that will be in favor of the US more than those countries. What do you think?
Well, there are always different ways of interpretation and different ways of looking at it. I like to take the positive that these countries, the leaders of the Central Asia countries, are great leaders and very strong leaders. And they are not going to do anything that would be not beneficial for their own people. So I would give them I would give them a lot of credit that whatever they would do, however they would negotiate with the United States, it would be for the benefit of their own people. And also I may add that the President Trump Abraham Accords, the ideology, unlike the Europeans, who they think a solution to everything is through politics, and we saw that with Oslo Accord, which did not work because it was a political agreement. President Trump believes that the solution to everything is through trade. That's why we have Abraham Accords.
Yes, but indeed, I'm not doubting any of the presidents or the great leaders of those countries at all, or their intentions for the benefit of their own countries. I'm just asking about Trump's intentions of taking the mineral earth and, for an instant, pushing Kazakhstan to join the Abraham Accord and normalize relations with Israel. This is pushing them to do so. And I'm pretty sure that we are aware of the economic situation of all those countries. So does this fit into Washington's broader Middle East calculations, their Central Asia calculations? What do you think?
I think to use the term pushing is too much. I would rather use the word encouragement. Again, I would go back. These are very strong leaders in Central Asia. You cannot push them to do something. But
in circumstances or in economic circumstances, the countries are in, as those Central Asian countries are, this is called pushing, right?
Well, if you look at the history of these countries, these are young countries. They've come out of 70 years of communism. They are beginning to understand the global trade and to get involved in the global trade. So they need assistance from larger economies to help them to become even more involved in world economy.
Mm-hmm. If I may ask you here, now the C5 or those countries are balancing US deals without antagonizing Moscow or even Beijing. Now, do those states really possess real strategic autonomy, or is this a managed neutrality?
Again, I go back. These are countries who are finding their own identity slowly, and they are establishing their own unique way. Each have a unique way of economy, and they have different cultures and identity. So these, I'm just saying these are countries. We have to allow them to establish themselves further and grow also. And again, I go back to what I said before. These are very good countries. They're very peaceful countries, and they don't mean harm to anyone. And they would coexist with anybody. So whether it's with the Russians or with the Chinese, they would coexist with anyone.
Of course they are. Of course they are. Okay. Let me here take you to another area where environmental standards for mineral extraction are far looser in Central Asia than in the West. Now, could Central Asia become a sacrifice zone in this resource race?
Again, Central Asia is a unique area. It has lots of natural resources. It is very thinly populated. So there is a lot of potential for growth, both in terms of population and also in terms of economy. It's a vast land, it's huge land with a great history. And it is, I would say, it's neglected by the world so far. So it is good that they are now getting more attention through President Trump.
No, let me get that straight. Now, they were neglected, their earth minerals, or because they don't have the abilities for industries or to build industries inside their own countries. And then I'm reiterating what I said. Mr. Trump is not offering them investments inside their own countries using those mineral or those earth minerals. He is, or he wants to make an agreement to take those earth minerals. What do you think of that?
I don't think, again, I would say that mining is a very specialized industry. It takes huge amount of investment. It takes a very long time to actually start paying back. And in terms of investment, you need a very long time to recover your investment. It's not like oil and gas, where you could relatively recover your investment over 10 to 15 years. Mining would go over 30 to 50 years before you recover your investment. And these countries, they were socialist countries, so they had central planning, and their industries were not based on market economy. And now this shift from socialist system, from central planning, coming back to market economy is a huge shift. And so far they've done a great job, but in order to get to the next stage, again, they need assistance from larger economies.
Indeed. Critics argue that Washington is ignoring human rights concerns to secure mineral access. Do you see this as a return to purely transactional diplomacy?
Well, Russians are happy that the United States is coming there to invest in these countries, because if the United States was not interested to invest in these countries, who would come and invest in these countries? And it's President Trump. Europeans are not there. I don't see any other countries or regions being there. So it's either Chinese or the Americans. And when it comes to any investment, the terms that the Americans offer is much better than the Chinese.
What is the American offer, Mr. Babak? What is the American offer?
The American offer, at least when they offer, first of all, most of the companies who are so there is least amount of corruption. Also, they have to obey by certain by standards, minimum standards. It's not like and they cannot resort to extortions or other things. And unlike we've seen that practice with the Chinese companies in Africa. No way an American investment or a corporation could do that, what the Chinese government is doing in Africa.
Oh, is it about what Washington should do and what China shouldn't? It's not investments. We're speaking about a win-win situation for both sides here.
Yeah, yes. I mean, the standards set by America, it's not only Washington, it's the normal way that the Americans do practice. So the practices that the corporation have in America, wherever they go, they are obliged to carry the same standards. Their shareholders demand them to do that. And the corporations in America are accountable to shareholders, and public opinion is very important to corporations. And it is a lot more than what we get in terms of the Chinese or other countries.
Right. So looking ahead, can Central Asia become the new decisive arena of global competition, much like the Middle East was in the 20th century?
I would say every region is subject to competition. It's not only Central Asia. Maybe Central Asia has started. Middle East has been, will be a region for competition for a very long time. Similar to Europe. Europe is subject to the way we see the Chinese have infiltrated so much into the political system of Europeans, and their lobbies are everywhere. And they're not even the Chinese spies are not even prosecuted now. So we see even Europe everywhere is under that competition.